So hey everybody, welcome to another episode of Great Minds Drink Alike, where Mike and I invite really cool entrepreneurs, successful people, brilliant marketers, and we hang out on the end of a week and we have a little drink, to cheers us, and kind of talk about life and running a successful business, and just kind of our universal voyage and becoming the best version of ourselves, and strategies for success, and of course to have a drink, because it's like when we record these, they're live, it's on Friday, it's late in the day, and usually that's about the time when you need a drink. So as usual, if you're on with us live now, and I know there's a couple different ways you could be on live on the interwebs out there, Facebook and LinkedIn and YouTube, and on the actual live Zoom here. But put your comments in the comment box. Tell us, where are you right now today, and what are you drinking with us? And maybe it's water. I'll look over here at the hey, say where's Auntie Robin? All right, it's Auntie Robin. One day I'm going to say it's Grandma Robin. But for today, I'm still still dyeing the hair, keeping the gray out. All right, so also use that to put comments in there. Join us in this conversation. Let me know what you want to ask Steve, what you want to comment on, what do you think is cool. Make sure you find those buttons to subscribe and to our podcast. That way you get notified whenever we have new episodes, right? You don't want to miss one of those. And so with that, I am going to welcome today's guest, which you have already, many of you remember from last December when we kicked off the podcast. It was in December, and we did like Great Minds Drink Alike, and it was like 4 or 5 hours. I was completely sauced by the end of it. I still have this huge bottle of Prisoner that's down at the beach house behind me. That's where it was. So Mr. Steve Sims, cheers, my friend. What are you drinking?
Believe it or not, because it's only 2 o'clock in the afternoon here, water. I've got a couple of meetings after this before I can pour the old fashions.
Oh, come on. Now, it would have been a lot more interesting Steve Sims that showed up if you had a couple old fashions in,
Look, we'll leave that for the X-rated version. When you start doing them at 9 o'clock after the watershed, that's when I'll be on.
Okay, you got it. Mike, what are you drinking? Are you drinking your $2 chuck again? Or
yeah. No, I couldn't find anything cheaper, so I made some mezcal margaritas here. But because I'm healthy, I added strawberries.
Oh,
so,
okay. Well,
yeah.
Yeah, it's like a smoothie. Yeah. Okay.
Basically.
So, no, I'm drinking this. So like everyone knows, I love Camus, right? So I've got this Grand Reef. And it's like a really rich petite Syrah. It's like my new favorite Camus. So if anyone wants to send me a gift, there you go. Very, very cool. And all right, so water. I thought for sure you'd show up with like a big bottle.
No, I've actually got to get on a motorcycle in about an hour and a half's time. So I never drink when I'm on 2 wheels.
No, 100%. 4 wheels, absolutely. But not.
Oh, who cares? Yeah, get completely shit-faced, but never on 2 wheels. Remember that, kids.
Yeah, we're gonna get letters. So there we go.
I feel an email coming on.
Yeah. Email Karen at
Exactly right. All right. So I know some of you know Steve because of the last interview we did, but just really quick, I want to read this bio. Let's hope I can get through it without slurring my words. But so do you know anyone that's worked with Sir Elton John or Elon Musk, sent people down to the wreck of the Titanic, or closed museums in Florence, Italy for a private dinner party, and then had Andrea Bocelli serenade them while they eat their pasta? Well, that's this guy right here, not Mike. This guy.
Yep.
Just in case anyone was wondering, right? Okay. Quoted as the real life Wizard of Oz, which is a great title. It's so fitting, by Forbes and Entrepreneur Magazine. Steve Sims is a best-selling author with BLUEFISHING, The Art of Making Things Happen. He is a sought-after consultant and speaker at a variety of networks, groups, and associations, as well as the Pentagon and Harvard twice. They had you back a second time?
I can't believe it. They're supposed to be smart, aren't they?
It was a filing error. I never, I always know if I go in to speak, I'm like, if I go, because I'm going to close sales from the front, I'm like, I'm going to I'm going to get every freaking penny out, because I know I'm not being invited back. And everyone on here knows that's the truth. All right. So As the founder of Bluefish, one of the top personal concierge services and an expert marketer with the luxury industry, Steve has been quoted in various publications, TV, including Wall Street Journal, Forbes, London's Sunday Times, South China Morning Post, and many more. And as an entrepreneur in the truest sense of the word, Steve is well regarded within the luxury world for his innovation and down-to-earth personality, and his just cute little mug there, his little smile. And known for his honest integrity and doing things his way, Steve creates experiences for his clients that they could never have imagined possible. And just as a little side note, Steve actually created an experience for me, which is so crazy now that I think about it. But I first met you through Joe Polish. And was in Joe's Genius Network, and part of that, he introduced you to all of us. And at the time, I was like this geek about ghost hunters. Do you remember Tabs?
I remember that.
No, right? Anyway, so I was like, hey, get me on Ghost Hunters. I want to be on the show, right? And sure as shit, he made it happen. And it was kind of funny because we investigated Hammond Castle. So I was there following him around the whole thing. I wasn't on camera, but the guy who runs it, his name's Jason Hawes, right? And so Pamela Isidoric and I, which is one of my clients' wives, she was like a fan too. So we go together and we show up, and the street's blocked off on either side. You can't get in. Of course, I forget how, I walked in, I met the manager or something who was expecting me, and she walks me in. And the guy, Steve Hawes, she introduces me to him and shakes my hand, and he looks at me and he goes, and I could see he's like, who the hell is, who are you? And I'm like, and I said who I was, and I said, this is an experience that was arranged for me by Steve Sims of the Bluefish group and all that. And he goes, oh, okay. And so he's setting up, he's busy, he comes back again, like 10, 15 minutes later, goes, now tell me again, who are you again? He said, because we don't, and I explained again, and like he goes off, okay. He comes back a third time. It's like he could not get his head around this. And so I gave him your number, and I'm like, this is what this dude does. He makes impossible things happen. And he says, well, he really must know something, because we don't let anybody on this set, like, ever. And so, it was a great experience. And I know you've done that for a lot of other people. What an experience. That was cool.
I'm glad you enjoyed it.
Yeah. How did you make that happen?
It's the classic, if you know people, you get things done. And great rooms, great things happen. My job has never been to care about what I look like. It's been to add value to the people that I know. The more value I can add to people that I know, and I am very, very careful with the people I know. I don't know any wasters or flakes or, snowflakes or idiots. I know people that can make things happen. And the bottom line of it is, I guarantee you, I knew nobody on that show, but I knew someone who they listened to. And so as long as I've always got that leverage, I've got that seesaw effect that can tip it in my direction, I get stuff done. And as long as I can bring value to the people that I'm asking favors of, whether it be Elton John or, Britney Spears or whatever, I manage to get things done. And I will be honest with you, there's very few times that I don't sit there at the end of the day, usually with my old fashioned going, jeepers, how the hell did I pull that off? But I seem to keep getting it done, and I keep going.
It's awesome. I mean, it's really amazing. So talk a little bit about your journey, because you started out, weren't you working for American Express, the American Express Black Card, and you were running their high-end concierge service, right? And then you started Blue. Talk a little bit about that, just so people know a little bit of your background.
So I'll give you the quick precursor to that. Born and raised an Irish bricklayer in South London, and I was poor. And I realized very, very early on in my life that I don't like being poor. It stinks.
Yeah, it
so
does.
I went out to try and find people with money to find out, hey, how come you've got money and I've not? I ended up losing loads of jobs, trying to get the wrong things done. Ended up being a doorman. Ended up getting people into parties backstage, where they shouldn't be. I ended up doing it. And I started this concierge firm. Didn't expect it to be anything. And then all of a sudden started working for Lehman Brothers. Do you remember those guys? Lehman Brothers. I worked for Daria Hedge, which was a Swiss bank, UBS, Coutts Banks. And I ended up working for American Express. And they ended up using us for what was the company, Luxury Lifestyle Services, out of Switzerland, which was the concierge to the Centurion card. Then I got approached by Bank of America, and they said, hey, we want you to run our program and actually have a Bluefish credit card. This upset American Express, and they said, if you take that contract, you lose ours. And I said, well, if you're willing to accept and tell everyone that, Centurion is actually us, I'll stay with you. And guess what? They said no. So we were like, fine, goodbye. So I ended up just continuing it. I had a credit card magazines, and it just grew. And without any marketing, and for many years without even a website, it grew to work with, at its peak, 93 clients. Now, a lot of people are like, how can you survive with 93 clients? Well, when 2/3 of them are billionaires, you can survive very well indeed.
Yeah, that's probably every billionaire in the world. Like, Mike, how many billionaires are there out there in the world?
It wasn't far short, I'll tell you. We used to look at the Forbes rich list, and we used to look at the London Times rich list. And believe it or not, and I won't say where, because it still happens today, there is a party every year when the 100 richest people come out, all right, in London. I think it's in the London Times or the Sunday Times. And there's a party, and you're only allowed in that party as an honorary guest if you have more money than people on the list, but are not on the list. And they have this private party for those people.
Now, is that you organize that?
No, I just used to get invited every year.
Oh, okay. Well, who runs that? Maybe I got to get them on a podcast.
Yeah, no, I'm not sure, because that's a very secret. It's in Mayfair every single year.
Okay. All right, Mike, get on that. All right. Use social media. Well, we have all IT people. We should be able to hack into that database somewhere. I mean, I don't need an invite. I'm just going to hack myself in, change
just hack in, yeah.
Yeah, I don't need all that. Okay, so you started, so you did the Bluefish, and then so you had 93 clients. That was it, right? But then
we did some other stuff for some other folks, but our main criteria was to look after the original, what Bluefish stood for, which was basically, and we used to joke, but our goal was to make you have more interesting cocktail stories. That was our pitch. That was our complete elevator pitch. We give you better cocktail stories. And we ended up working for 93 of them.
Yeah. Wow. So, but then when you got introduced to like Joe Polish's group, that had to expand, right? I mean, it
expanded a lot. And we ended up getting into other areas where, can you get us front seats at, this concert, or can you get us backstage? And I won't say it got us more into the mass market, because none of that's really, getting backstage tickets to meet, your favorite idol or something like that. That's not exactly something you just Google. But it became more mainstream stuff. So at that point in time, we kind of felt as though we had two businesses. We had a luxury lifestyle business, and then we had our concierge, which really was the original Bluefish and what it stood for.
Yeah.
So it kind of grew bigger on the luxury lifestyle side.
Yeah. I was gonna say, because we even bought like a couple, because we give them big checks on stage to the Bluefish, is like, because you can make cool shit happen and whatnot.
Yeah, and we had that. So I don't know, we probably had about 500 or 600 in that division. But what would happen was we'd end up doing a really cool party for like one group, and it'd be a budget of $20,000, and then we'd have like one of our original 93 contact us, and they go, hey, I'm going away for a weekend. I don't want to spend a lot, so my budget's $500,000. So you had these two kind of conversations going on.
Yeah. So talk a little bit about like getting through the door. Maybe, I know in your book, Bluefishing, you talk about the password, and people want to get into places they can't. So talk a little bit. I mean, it seems kind of like crazy. Like, how do you go from a bricklayer? I mean, you were doing the concierge services, but like, how do you start that? Like, because you're not afraid to approach people. The people listening to this are entrepreneurs. So let me give a frame of what I'm asking, because they're entrepreneurs and they want to get indoors. They want to get indoors for CEOs of, big companies in their area, strategic partners. And I would think, it seems to me like if they could become the go-to person in their area, like whatever their area is, where maybe it's Chicago, maybe it's Nashville, maybe it's just, Hattiesburg, Mississippi, or in a niche, then, it's like you become the go-to person. So talk a little bit about that.
Mike, do you want to play a game with me?
Sure.
All right, so I'm having a barbecue this weekend, and I say to you, hey, it's on Sunday. Do you want to come to my barbecue? And you're a smart man. Why wouldn't you? It's me. And you go, yeah, I want to come to your barbecue. What's the first question you ask me?
What time? What should I bring?
What time? Okay, so your first question was what time? Selfish question. It's a piece of information you need to know. Second question benefited me. And it was in that order. I'm going to be honest and tell you, I'm surprised you got it so fast. I picked on you and not Robin because 99% of women turn around and go, what can I bring? The guys are always like, what should I wear? Who's going to be there? Can I bring a mate? Can I take photographs? What's the address? All that kind of stuff that we would tell you, but they ask. You see, in today's society, we know you want something. The fact that I phone you up at midnight, you can be guaranteed before you pick that phone up, you see it's me on the caller ID, you know I want something. We have low tolerance to put up with what that is. So today we have to focus on, hey, now that I've got you, what can I bring to your party? What can I bring to your conversation? So if you want to be the big person in Chicago, find out what people in Chicago need. If you're trying to work into real estate and you're trying to get into real estate deals, what do people selling that real estate need? Do they support a charity? Do they have kids? Do their kids go to a school? All of that shit you can find on Google. You don't have to be a genius. You can literally find out anything you need on this thing now. Find out what's important to them and turn up with it. Hey, Mike, I wanted to talk to you about something, but before I get into that, I hear you've got a book, a podcast. You're doing a show. You're doing exposure on a new product you've got coming out. I wanted to talk about that because I may be able to help you. Would that help you?
Absolutely.
And get them vested in the solution, because then how do they get what they want? Oh, we have to go back to the beginning. You mentioned you needed something, Steve. What is that? So in today's society, don't overcomplicate it, but go basic and think, what can I bring to the party?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. But I think the other thing and you talk about it in your book. So like, you guys, if you haven't gotten the book, get the book. I think it's like free. There's an Audible version that's free on Amazon, right?
Yeah, I think if you sign up for something, you get it free. And it's actually me that says it. So if you're having trouble understanding me now, then you're basically fucked with the audio version of the book. But, if you could put up with me, I do the book.
No, I love that. I love that when the author reads the book, I much prefer that over, even if it's imperfect and everything else, rather than some person, right?
Yeah.
You want to hear that. But I think you have and I think that's even, you got a new book coming out, Go for Stupid. And I think a lot of your life is, yeah, exactly. I think, and we'll have to help you promote that when you like, it's coming out in October. Maybe
October the 18th. Yeah.
Yeah. Maybe we could squeeze you in at, I don't know, Producers Club. We're having a big thing. We're at High Point University with Nito Cobain. I know you know Nito. I think you know Nito, don't you? Nito Cobain?
Yeah.
All right. So anyway, but you're unafraid to connect with people, like, so talk a little bit about, where does that come from? Is it just because you're a bricklayer and you don't give a flying fuck, or is it because you overcame it? Like, talk about like how you're fearless in approaching people and talking to them.
So I'll answer it with a little story. We had a dinner party when we first landed over here in Los Angeles, and we invited some friends over to the party. And at the party, there were two of the actors that were just starting in the new Marvel movies. Okay. And one of them, while we were all getting a bit sloshed around this table, and there was about 12 of us at the table. And I have to admit, I was kind of a bit proud of myself. I had this Hollywood table with these actors, and I'm thinking, this isn't bad for a bricklayer. I wish my old pops was around to see this shit. And one of the guys that was one of the characters from Marvel turned around and said, hey, we're going to be superheroes. We're going on. There's like all of these other films that are going to be. This was right at the beginning of the whole Marvel kind of explosion. And they turned around and they said, if you were a superhero, what's your superpower? And they went around the table to ask everyone, what's your superpower? Now, when you're confronted with a table like that, you want to be able to turn around and go, oh, I want to be able to flick my wrist and remove poverty, or I want to be able to, dash my eyes, and there's water in Africa that everyone can drink. Where seriously, deep down, every man in the planet wants to simply say, I want the superpower of X-ray vision. I want to be able to see through women. But no guy's going to say it, but we all know that's what you want. So I'm trying to think of a really smart one before it gets to me. And I'm kind of like, shit, what do I say? Well, I remember I had one that I think was to do with pain or poverty. And one of the other bastards came up with it. And I'm like, shit, what can I? And I was really trying to think of something that kind of made me sound smarter than I was. And after drinking, that's really hard. It gets to me and they're like, Sims, superpower. And I'm like, oh, let me think about it. And I was still trying to grab a second. And my wife turns around and she's like, babe, I can help you out. There's nothing better than your wife saying what your superpower is. So I'm like, honey, go ahead. What is it? And she turns around and she went, he's ignorant. And that was it. And I'm like,
he's ignorant.
Yeah. And I'm like, damn. And you could just feel, for a start, I thought to myself, I'm getting divorced. And you just felt the entire temperature of the table change. She sensed it because she turned around and she went, whoa, hang on a minute. She said, you've all known Steve for years. How many times has he pulled off something with the Pope or Richard Branson or someone like that? And you sat there going, how the bloody hell did he pull that off? And he pulled it off because, quite simply, he was ignorant to it going any other way than the way he visioned it. He's not got super confidence. He just doesn't care if anyone's laughing at him. He's not overly articulate. We all know that. But he's got a vision and a purpose, and he moves with that purpose, and it's powerful. He's ignorant to it going any other way than he can see. And I remember when I was, and I'm still with her, thank God. But I remember many, many years ago when, again, I didn't have money, but I was aggravated. I was in a pub with my buddies, and we'd all turned up on these shit heap motorcycles. So we're all in this pub holding on to a crash helmet. As we walked in, there was a guy there that in the village owned the local gas station and the local supermarket. Now, do you remember when you're young and you see someone that's got a new car, you think that they are the richest person you've ever met in your life? And this guy was basically Elon Musk and Richard Branson all wrapped up. He was the local heartthrob. He always had the girls. He had the convertible. And everyone wanted to be this guy. And this was the first time I ever saw him. So one of the guys was, oh, that's him. So I went, oh. So I walked up to speak to him because I knew what my two clowns were like. They were poor and we were going to be arguing over who bought the beer. So I knew how that conversation was going to go. Let's see how this one's going to go. So I just went up there and I went, hey, how you doing? You don't know me. I'm Steve Sims. And he turned around. I remember this. And he went, well, I'm just about to get a beer. You're here. You're in my way. So do you want a beer? And I'm thinking, score. I've already got a free beer out of this. And I turned around to my mates to make sure that they got a free beer as well. You know, you look after your mates. When I turned around, I saw they were on the other side of the pub, leaning up against the wall. No beer, just leaning up against the wall, watching me do my thing. And I suddenly saw it there and then. There are people that are so scared they won't move. And then there are some people that are so scared of where they currently are, will do anything to get out of it. Now, I didn't want to be poor. I didn't want to grow up poor. I didn't want to grow up stupid and ignorant to what was possible. And that propelled me forward. Mm-hmm. But to them, it stuck them in sand. And I realized on that day how different I was to my mates. Mm-hmm. Sadly, never spoke to those two guys ever again because I realized I can't go to this side of the room if I hang over there with those.
Yeah. It's sad, because you're right. There's, as you grow as a person, a lot of the people that you used to be friends with, you would work with, clients, you start to hang with a different group, and it's, and it's not, it's not that you don't care about those people and, whatnot. It's just that the conversations they have, the things they care about, they're just, you just find yourself at odds, so, yeah. But, So like, so if somebody, okay, so let's say somebody on this podcast, Mike, was downtown Nashville and he sees Reba McEntire at the bar. I don't know, like what, how would you coach him to go up and talk to her, or anybody, you know, just somebody, he sees somebody famous, Elon Musk is standing there. Like, what would you, I mean, obviously you would approach, but what would you say? Do you have like a shtick, or do you just kind of say whatever comes to mind?
I don't have a shtick, but I do have a structure. Okay. So the first thing you do, you see Reba McEntire and you want to have a conversation with her. Okay. First thing you should do, pull out this little fella, Google, look at the pictures and see if you can find any abstract fact about her. Maybe she was in a magazine where she spoke about how she collected vintage chairs. Or maybe you found an article that she was a very keen home gardener. You know, something abstract. I always try to find the abstract thing. They're not looking for a Wikipedia on their greatest hits. The worst thing you can do to any kind of celebrity is go up to them and go, oh, I saw this movie, I saw that one, I love this one, I knew were great in that movie. They know what fucking movie they were in. They don't need you to recite it to them. So when you want to go up to them, find that kind of little point, okay? And then you do this, and this is very important. You walk to them with purpose. They're going to clock you. They're going to see you coming. And Robin, you've been around enough people. We both have. You're going to be able to agree with this. When someone's famous, they know they're famous. And you starting to walk at them, especially you, a hot redhead, you're coming at them, and they're like, what does she want? You know, that's what they're thinking. Every celebrity in the planet, as you start coming at them, they're like, okay, here we go. What are they after? Do they want a Wikipedia, my greatest hits? Do they want a selfie? Do they want me to endorse their product? Do they want me to write the foreword of their book? Do they want me to be on their podcast? This is all going through their head. And what does that do to anybody? It stiffens them up, doesn't it?
Yeah.
And
how
many times have you been next to someone of profile? Okay. And this doesn't have to be Elon Musk. It could be the head of the PTA. It could be someone that's big in your local town surroundings, you know, some big wig in their own little sandpit. But what happens is as you come forward and they start doing that, they get on guard. And how many times do you get people turn around and go, my God, I tried to talk to them, but they were so off. They were so, you know, untouchable. They wouldn't even talk to me. Oh, my God, they're rude. No, you've just put them on guard. So this is what you do. That you understanding the Reba McEntire, your local head of the PTA, your local hotshot, whoever it is, when you start walking towards them, you're going to put them on guard. It's your fault that they're now asking all of these questions. So you do this. Hey, how you doing? My name is Steve Sims. I'm sorry for coming over here. You don't know me. That's what you do. It relaxes them. How many times, Robin, has someone come up to you and spoke to you and, you know, you're kind of like, hang on, do I know you? Have we met at a party? Are you a friend of a friend? I don't want to upset this person, but do I know you?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
How much is it of it's a relief when they go, hey, Robin, I heard you on your show. You don't know me, but I love your show. Mm-hmm. Does that not relax you?
Yeah.
So that's the first thing you do. And then you follow it with the barbecue. Hey, Reva, I saw an article once and you collect vintage chairs. Love vintage chairs. What got you into vintage chairs?
And Mike collects vintage chairs. It just so happens he's sitting on one.
We could talk for hours. Yeah.
So that's the point. You use your, and I've done this so many times. When I got, true story, it was in BLUEFISHING. When I got my deal with Sir Elton John's Oscar party, I found out that one of the heads of the board that put the party together collected shoes. And what he would do was he would travel around Europe, find these pieces of leather, and then send them to his favorite cobbler who would make shoes out of them. Okay. And he was known for this fetish of trying to find this burnished leather and different kinds of skins to have shoes made out of them. So when I walked up to the bar, because I saw him there and I wanted to hit him up for this contract, I stood at the bar and of course he looked around at me. I'm 240 pounds of ugly. When I'm stood next to you, you know I'm stood next to you. And he looks at me a bit sideways and like carries on ordering his drink. And I literally just turned around and went, freaking hell, man, I absolutely love your shoes. That was it. He's like, you do? I'm like, what color are they? I said, you know, I'm checking them out. And they're like, every time they say, oh, these shit, I had this leather. And I went up, he was gone. I didn't get a word in for about 10, 15 minutes. Didn't have to. I had ignited the touch paper, just stepped back and let him get on with it. And when I put it in the book, he actually contacted me and he went, that was me. You did that to me, didn't you? And I said to him at the time, I said, look, I wanted a relationship with you so much, I wasn't willing to take it to chance.
Oh, good answer.
Is that okay?
Oh, I love that. That's
and
great.
he turned around and he went, that's great. And then I heard from a friend of mine that I'd made that's in his circle saying that he was in a party going, yeah, that was me in the book, and starts promoting that story about it. So first of all, move with purpose. If you move at someone kind of like jittery and your eyes are all down and you're all down, never, and Robin, you'll know this, how many times do you see people meeting their idol? What's the first thing they do? They bow. You know, if you watch the Oscars and you see the fans and they're calling the celebrities to come over and sign something, as the celebrity come over, watch their body. Their body will literally hand them the stuff and they will bow. Subserviently and subconsciously, we bow to people that we think are bigger than us. You can't meet someone on a level playing field if the first thing you do is bow to them. So chest out, you know, shoulders back, head up, move with purpose. Hey, Robin, it's great to meet you. My name's Steve Sims. You don't know me, but I did see that podcast you were doing. That is fantastic. I got a way that I could actually help distribute it for you more. Would that be of interest to you? Just suddenly get into the barbecue as fast as you can.
Yeah. So Mike, you know, usually what Mike goes up to someone in the bar, I've seen him do this. It's actually kind of clever. And he comes up and says, hey, could you look at my back? I feel like there's like a bug crawling on my back. Like
smooth.
Try that, Mike. I don't know if it would work.
No, Robin, my line is, hey, are you going to be walking home alone later?
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Have you parked your car somewhere dark?
Yeah.
Classic
exactly.
lines.
Yep.
Like, here's the thing. So if I was a woman, okay, I'm drinking. I could go up to her and say, I hate to bother you. You wouldn't happen to have any kind of, you know, tampon or anything. Like I might ask like a personal thing, like, but I was just thinking if Mike went up to someone, I can see this happening with Reba McEntire.
I'm not sure how to transition into chairs from tampons, but we'll figure it out.
There's a challenge.
Oh man, shit. I don't know. No, but I think you're right. I think that you know, you just have to be. I think there's an energy too when you come up to people, because like, you know, I'm not famous, and I go to an event, and you know, you have like, I'll be at the cocktail reception or whatever, and people walk up. And the people who are just relaxed, you know, they just come up and like, hey, how are you doing, Robin, or whatever. You can almost sense the tension of somebody coming up because they have like this weirdness, and you just go, oh, they're going to ask me something. This is going to be weird. You know, you can just, you can sense that energy. So, well, let me ask you this.
And you don't know where you reach today. You see, the trouble is we do all of these things. We speak on stages, we do, but we don't know who is discovering us. I remember I did your last event, and a coaching speakeasy member of mine by the name of Adam Raymer Brown, and I'm calling him out for a reason. He contacted me so excited that I was on your show. Okay, so excited. And I'm calling Adam Raymer Brown out now because 2 days ago he got engaged. So Adam, congratulations, mate.
Yeah, congratulations. All right, very cool.
There you go. But yeah, you never know who you're reaching.
Yeah. Well, I mean, you know, again, I think it's just being relaxed, not being weird, being, you know, like just being a normal person, you know. I still think you should, Mike, maybe go like, hey, can you look at this mole on my back?
Is it pulsing?
Yeah. Oh, God.
This is going bad.
I want to video that. I just love to see that shit go down. That would be just disarm.
Actually, that should be the kind of thing where you have to see if you can score with the worst line possible.
Yeah.
You know, I remember when I was I was very good at repelling women as a young lad, but I remember we always used to try and go for the comedy route, about kind of like, hey, grab your jacket, you pulled, just simple things like, stupid, and they would never work, but you would do it. So never worked once.
Yeah. Well, cool.
So Steve, real quick. So with that, so we get people all the time, like, you give this and you've obviously done it a lot, but it doesn't work every time. So what do you say to people? Like, how do you bounce back from that? What happens? How do you exit gracefully from a situation you just know is not going the way you want it to?
Well, quite simply exit it. You see, the way, I think is my attitude, and I think is my tolerance. And believe it or not, I think, and this is going to sound weird, I think introverts have an advantage over extroverts. Now, an extrovert wants to be the center of attention for being the center of attention. An introvert wants to be the center of attention for the benefit of their company, their book, their podcast, their productivity. Introverts tend to put themselves in that situation for it to move the needle. Okay. If it doesn't move the needle, they move away. Now, I can be loud and proud on a party or on a stage or something like that, but I'm an introvert. I want to be left alone. I look like this because quite simply, most people I repel and they don't come and bother me. And I'm very happy about that. But when I step into a situation, if it's not going my way, I'll be like, all right, hey, you have a good night. And I'm gone. Okay. Because it's really not working. What you'll find is your exit needs to be as powerful as your entry. And there's been a number of times where I've gone, hey, clearly I'm bothering you. Don't worry about it. Have a fantastic night. And I go to walk away and they go, hey, I was being rude. Can I get you a drink? The amount of times I've been called back, but no, if you drag it on too long, so be prepared that, hey, it's not vibing. This is being forced. Hey, look, it's a party. I'm obviously disturbing you. Wish you all the best. Have a fantastic night. All the best. You'll be surprised how many times you'll get called back.
Yeah. No, you have to kind of read people. But, I was also thinking, like, as a famous person, you could say, you know what? I hated you and name a movie they weren't in. Like, I wasn't in that movie. Yeah, it sucked. It was horrible. And you were the worst actor in it, So anyway.
Robin's going straight for the nagging.
Yeah. Make them feel bad.
Welcome to, do I know you? Have I seen you in, like, and you just name a movie that they weren't ever in or something? I don't know. So, if you mess with people, it is what it is. So
yeah.
So tell me, so like, what do you do mastermind groups today? What are you doing today? You're speaking, you're writing, you're coaching.
Wow. Yeah. So the first book, BLUEFISHING, came out and it wasn't supposed to be anything. I was knee deep in Bluefish. I was doing a lot of concierge work. I was literally on a plane every single month for a couple of weeks a month. It was profitable, but very taxing on me. When I got the chance to do the book, I thought, that's funny. I've never read a book, never ever thought I'd do a book. Yeah, I'll write a book. And here was the key that I think was my benefit. I'm not sure that if Simon Schuster are so happy about it, but I got paid, and the technical term is shit tons of money to write the book. And so by getting paid to write the book, you don't have to write a book to sell the book. And there's a different mindset. If you're trying to meet the mass market, you maybe can soften down a couple of stories, not do that, because you want to reach a wider audience because you need to make money on the sell. Because I got it all front end, I'm like, right, I get to write my book. I get to talk about my aggravation. If 2 people buy it, great. If no one buys it, oh, well. So I had that kind of mentality. Maybe that's not the best. And I'm sure SNS are not too happy about the statement. Thankfully, because it was so raw, it did really well. And I didn't realize how well it did. People were like, hey, do you train? Do you coach? And of course, I got more speaking gigs. And my life just changed. So I started doing more and more. But one of the things that came out of it, which I really kind of didn't expect, which is one of my big surprises, was me and you, Robin, we go to so many masterminds and conferences and summits, and you make your decision based on this person's going to be here, this person's going to be here, and you know everything before you even pay. You literally look at it and you go, well, I know it's going to be at the San Diego Convention Center. I know Gary Vee's going to be there. I know Robin's going to be there. I know Steve Sims. Yes, I'm going to go. I'll buy the ticket. I wanted to go the other way. And I always like to try and push things. It's the little curious kid in me. I thought to myself, can I sell an event based on me and nothing else? So we put together, and this is a true story, because you'll know the guy when I mention his name. We put this event together, and I just turned around and went, hey, who would like to spend 2 days with me in San Diego? And there was a PayPal link, $2,000. And I did have the date on it. I think it was July. And I suddenly got people buying it. Not a lot, like 4 people. Mm-hmm. And I phoned up the first one because it was a friend of mine. And you know the guy, Tim Larkin. Mm-hmm. So I phoned up Tim and I went, you just signed up for this event. You know nothing about it. You don't know who's going to be there. You don't know where it's going to be. You just know it's in San Diego on these 2 days. And I said to him, I went, what's your problem? Meaning, are you mad? But you know, when he heard it, and we hear what we want to hear. When I said to him, what's your problem? He went, great question, Steve. I'm having trouble with this. And he told me what his problem was at that moment. So then I went to the next person of the 4 that had purchased. I went, hey, you just purchased a ticket. You don't know anything about the event, but I'd like to ask you, what is your problem today? And that got out there. All of a sudden, the event was there to solve a problem. It wasn't there because so-and-so was speaking. The sole purpose of the event was to solve your problem. So now what we do is we run these events. One person said to me one day, because we didn't have a title, they said to me, God, this is like a speakeasy. You don't know where it's going to be, but you know that all the action's there. So it became the speakeasy. The next one's in LA in October. And we did that. We literally just tell you the location, and I'm on about city, not even a block. Mm-hmm. New York, Nashville, as you know. And then the dates.
I was bummed I didn't go to the Nashville one. I think I was out of town. I think I mean, literally looked at it. I was in another city. Yeah.
We had the head of the Country Radio Music Association. We had a whole bunch of people in there. It was a really cool event. But we do all of these things to test what you're willing to do. And when people pay, they commit, because they're not committed to seeing Gary Vee or you or me. They're committed to the event. And it brings a different kind of emotion and vibe into the room. And what we do is, as soon as you've signed up, we still contact you. Hey, you signed up for LA. What is your problem today? And those have been doing really, really well. We max them out at 40 people. We always get really, really interesting cats in there.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, no, I think that's great. I love that idea. I love the idea of just like a blindfold mastermind. You don't know who's going to show up. You don't know where it's going to be, but it's someplace cool. You and I've talked about this. I mean, yeah. I love that idea. I'm just like, we're right in getting ready to like heavy, like we just had a little reprieve for about 3 weeks. And now starting next week, all the way through to November, I've got an event every week. So we're just like, crazy, but I definitely would. I'd love to get to one of your events. You should come back to Nashville, make it easy. All right. Yeah. Have it on a Saturday or Sunday, because I'm usually not having events on those days and I'm pretty sure I can make it. Can you make it convenient for me, please?
Just for you. Be a speakeasy for one.
Yeah, either that or, I'm trying to, Kevin O'Leary's down in Miami. I'm trying to get like a meeting with him, like down in Miami. Marcus Lemonis is down there too. We had an event, with Marcus Lemonis, and that was fantastic. Like he just ripped for like a half a day audience. It was no agenda, just him kind of talking to people. It was phenomenal. Sometimes those unplanned events, if you get the right people in the room, are magical. I mean, I know that sounds so corny, but it's magical. And literally the conversations that can
you happen. Just hit it. Yeah. And there's the thing. How many, I had a friend of mine said to me, I'm going to throw a mastermind. And I went, oh, tell me about it. And straight away he went, I've got this auditorium. It's got 500 people and I've got this happening and I'm going to get this people. And I went, you're talking about the foundations. You're talking about the room. You're talking about the lighting, the AC. What's the event going to do to the person in it?
Yeah.
And when you said, if you had if you threw an event, let's say for argument's sake, I got a pub in East London and I had Elon Musk and Jean-Paul de Joria in the pub, and we riffed for an entire day. Would that not be one of the greatest events?
Oh, yeah.
But it's in a pub. People worry too much. I've thrown events in the Bunny Ranch in Reno, in the Tesla plant in Fremont, in the ManyChat headquarters, in a music studio in Los Angeles. I always try to find a quirky kind of location and make sure that my focus is not on a conference, boring, dullard room, but on the people inside it and what I'm going to trigger them with.
Yeah, it's brilliant. I mean, it really is. It's absolutely brilliant. It's someone who goes to a lot of masterminds, goes to a lot of events, runs a lot of events. You know, you're right. I mean, even us, we kind of get stuck into this
we do.
routine of here's what the event is. And, you know, we kind of get stuck in it because in a sense, people that, well, where is it? When does it start? What's the agenda? Who's going to be there? You know, what does it cost? Where's the hotel? You know, it's all these things. So,
but I wonder, and I'm going to throw this gauntlet at you, Robin, because I know you like a risk.
Yeah.
How much is a ticket to your event?
Depends on which one it is. I mean,
what's the most expensive?
No, anywhere from $100 to $3,000.
To $3,000. I bet
for the
you.
Events, then we've got like other
That's fine.
training sessions, but yeah.
All right, so you've got a $3,000 ticket, okay? I wonder if you turned around and said, I am doing an exclusive event in Nashville, $5,000 per person. Everyone that registers will be interviewed before acceptance. Wonder how many people you would actually get. And then if you got 20 people at that price, then you get a location for 20 people and you host an intimate event. But I think you've got enough power and credibility to do it. The downside is people are terrified about doing that because most people, not me and you, because we know we're pretty awesome, but most people are terrified of challenging their own credibility to the tribe they're serving.
Yeah, well, we are doing an event with Robert Erzsébet. I got him to agree to let me bring a small group to his office because he's a cybersecurity company. It's in Kansas City. So we are doing a couple, like we did the event with Marcus Lemonis. We did this with Robert. I'm trying to get something going with Kevin down in Miami because he's still a Canadian resident, but he has an office down in Miami. So we're trying to get things going like that. But you know, and those kind of events, you know, but you're right. Is it like if it was me, I didn't say, hey, we're going to have Marcus Lemonis or Kevin O'Leary or something like that.
Yeah.
That might be cool. So talk a little bit. So I want to also kind of talk to you a little bit about the experiences, because I know people are, you know, we're getting close to the top of the hour here, but like, what are some of the coolest experiences either you created for yourself or for a client?
So I'm boring. My greatest experience is when I can get back from my meeting tonight and open up a good bottle of whiskey and do myself an old fashioned. That's the experience I'm looking for. But I tend to look at someone and I look at them for two reasons. One of them, what growth can I get out of this person? That's why I like working with billionaires. You're the head of something massive. I want to get into your brain cells, or I want to get into your referral link. The second thing I want to do is I want to exceed your expectations. So what are you looking for and how can I take it further? So for argument's sake, the client that I opened up the Accademia, the Galleria in Florence for, and had the dinner party of 6 at the feet of Michelangelo's David, and then had Andrea Bocelli, he asked me for a dining experience. I could have literally sent him away for a pasta making course and then sat him down at a beautiful restaurant and then paid the chef $500 to come out and ask him if he's okay and, you know, make him look good and get a selfie. That would have done it for him, but not for me. So I always try to go above and beyond. As you know, Dan Fitzpatrick wanted to meet the rock band Journey. I put him on stage with him. He sang 3 tunes live on stage in San Diego and he's now deemed as the shortest term lead singer of the rock band Journey. I had a client of mine that wanted to learn how to play drums. So I introduced him to Matt Sorum, the current drummer of Guns N' Roses, who took him to a studio and taught him how to play drums. I had another client from Australia, wanted to play classic rock. I introduced him to Billy Gibbons, and Billy Gibbons taught him how to play a guitar riff in his bus at the backstage of one of the concerts, and then watched the concert from the side. And at the end of it, gave him a guitar. So I always try to see how far I can take the original request.
Yeah, no, I just out of curiosity, how much did it cost to get that dinner in Italy in the museum with Andrea Bocelli? How much did that cost?
Never say.
Oh.
I never repeat. I never repeat. Sometimes it's actually in the contract. Sometimes in the contract, the person I'm getting, we're actually not allowed to actually mention her because they don't want to be prostituted. They don't want to be a case of, hey, I see your $400. You know, would you do it for 350? They don't want those conversations. So we never discuss it. It was certainly a nice deposit for a house.
Oh, I bet. I mean, like, I just think about it. It's just like, what does it take, you know? And it's, you know,
but that's a good point. That's a very good point. The easiest way to repel a celebrity, an authority, or someone in power is to come at them with a price tag.
Or here's what I'll tell you right now, or not want to pay them, because I get that all the time. Hey, Robin, we want to have you come speak, blah, blah, blah. And I always hear people out because you never know, there could be an opportunity. But you know, we can't pay you to do it. And like Mike Rowe, for example, is somebody that we've had at our event, and Mike Rowe gets demands all the time. And you know, and we had him on our event. He's phenomenal. And you know, I'm keeping a line open to Mike Rowe because I want him to come back. I want him to talk about his new, you know, he's got this sweat pledge, but he's also got this sort of an honor code like system for working, and he's kind of trying to get it into universities. And I said, why don't you get it into corporate America? Because people like me who run a business would love to have someone to teach the work ethic, you know what I mean, as a course. And I said, look, when you're ready to roll this out with corporate America, I'll be your first guinea pig and I'll make it work, right? That's the key. And they kind of came back and they're like, well, we're not doing this for free. And I'm like, no, I'll pay for it, you know. But you know, when I've talked to people, everybody's trying to get something for free, you know. And I think that's the other thing. If you're going to if you come at it with, I'm willing to pay your fee, and maybe there's a way you can negotiate off that, but don't go in trying to ask for something for nothing. I think that's the thing.
Again, right at the beginning, barbecue game, what can you bring to the party? It may be a check. It may be a donation to that charity. It may be exposure for that charity. It may be exposure for that book, but you've always got to come with a value.
Right, exactly. Very cool. All right. So Mike, what other questions do we have? I'm not like really paying attention. Is there any other questions we should ask Steve while we got him?
So there aren't so many questions right now. So if you are listening, type in a question. But just talking about the bringing to a party, heard a joke recently, and old rancher hires this young ranch hand. At the end of the first day, young ranch hand did a great job, and he says, hey, I'm having a party on Saturday. There's going to be lots of sex and drugs and rock and roll. Ranch hand, typical guy, says, what should I wear? Old rancher says, doesn't matter, just going to be you and me. So.
Nice one.
Nice, exactly right. All right. Well, tell us about your new book, Go for Stupid. I want to hear about what this book is. Why did you write it? What is it? Yeah, give us a little preview because you're going to have it released in October.
Yeah, I got angry. Isn't it amazing how much stuff we do when we get aggravated? And I was getting really, really pissed off, especially because of COVID, how we were growing into an incredible gotcha society. How it's a case of we want to look at what you're doing, then we want to pick it apart, take that nugget out and make you sound ignorant, stupid, racist, rude, you know, just something. So because of that gotcha society, so many of us now are not doing anything. I had a friend of mine the other day who's an extrovert, and he was going to a party, and I said to him the day after, how was the party? He said, I didn't go. And I said, why not? You love a party. He said it was fancy dress. And I said, well, why didn't you go? He said, I didn't know who I was going to offend by turning up, so I couldn't risk it. We're so scared now of what we do not because of doing it, of other people ridicule and laughing at us. And today, a lot of people won't try to go for the goals that they want, whether it be business, whether it be relationships, whether it be in personal growth, for fear, not of failing, but of other people seeing it. And so I realized when I was kind of like in the world I was with, Jeff Bezos couldn't give a shit you're laughing at him. Elon Musk can't hear you. Richard Branson doesn't even know your name. They don't care. And so they go out with these amazing, ridiculous, stupid goals and then stand a chance of achieving them. So I wrote the book based on how I managed to get a lot of things done by just going for stupid and not listening to the white noise. And then the lessons I'd learned from other people. And I even go into old past stuff that is now just, we couldn't live without, that at the time was ridiculed. Henry Ford was blasted that the idea of a car was ridiculous. The idea of using coffee for a drink, people tried to ban. All of these kind of things is just stupid. That if someone didn't keep pushing, knowing what the vision was going to be, and actually listen to the idiots, it would have never got off the ground. So I wrote the whole book around how to go for stupid goals, how to set them, and the art of actually achieving these ridiculous goals like I have.
Yeah, no, it's a great topic, and you're right. I think I was just commenting this to, we had a client coaches call, and I know some of them are watching somewhere online. And I was saying, ever since it's been kind of building, but COVID really kind of made it seems like everybody's just angry and pissed off. And no matter what you do, there's people the people who bubble up are the ones who, with the hatred and they want to take you down, and I think it's there, the reality is it's usually a really small percentage of people, but they're really fucking noisy. And they're on every social media platform, and they're everywhere. That's like their life journey is to be grumpy about and pissed off about something. Most people, they're happy, they're productive, they like you, they like your idea. They just, I don't know. It's like, as a society, it's a sad commentary, but we feel as though if we like something, Facebook has the like, we'll hit the like. But if we hate something, it's like, we're going to write a fucking paragraph about how you're an idiot. You know what I mean? It's like, okay, think versus I got to tell you why you're a moron and why you're stupid. So I love that you're doing that, because I think we do need more people to be able to, and it's tough. Don't you feel it's tough though, to stand up against that? We always say, oh, don't listen to them, but it's hard not to, when you're looking on Facebook or you get emails and this hate's coming in. How do you overcome? You don't have that. I can't imagine people not liking you, but so
I get it a lot. I get people saying to me,
I mean that sincerely. Do you really get that a lot?
I do. I get both mail and email, and every time something's reported with me hanging around with someone, they'll turn around and they're like, how do you sleep at night when these people are making so much money? And I'm like, absolutely fine on a bed of feathers. I just laugh at it. But the point is, there's this old saying about be so successful you have haters. The downside is those people don't bother me. The people that bother me were usually those ones closest to you. Those people that you start talking about your goal, your dream, your aspiration, and again, it's your little circle of five, and you get one of those go, really, Robin, you're going to do that? Are you don't be silly, girl. And the trouble is, you stand the risk then of diluting your standards to meet theirs. Most people laugh at you, not because it's a ridiculous idea, but are scared that you're going to achieve it and to validate that they're inadequate. That's usually the problem. So nowadays, we have to just keep going forward. That white noise, you got to look at it and go, you couldn't afford me in any case. So why should I be listening to you?
Yeah. It's like something, great, everybody grapples with. And I love this topic, that how do you stick to be true to yourself? I get on here and I'm drinking, I say stupid shit. Talking up
every single time.
To Reba McEntire, ask her for a tampon. That's ridiculous, right? And I know I'm going to get an email. I was actually trying to get Mike to do that. But you know what I mean? That's a ridiculous idea. But I'm just, look, you can't be on stage as much as I am, or video, or like you can't and be fake, right?
No.
And you're also going to say stuff that's stupid from time to time. It's like, we can't walk around with a constant filter, or you're not authentic, right? So everybody says be your authentic self, and then when you are, everybody criticizes you for it, right? So I think that's a word that we need to get a handle on, this authenticity. Yeah.
The fact that people try to be authentic, okay? The key is to try to stop being everything else. You know, if you shed all of the shiny, the pretty, how many people go onto a video and they're worried about what their hair looks like, what their outfit looks like? Gives a shit. If your content's crap, it's crap. If your content can help someone, now you're an asset. So stop trying to worry about this authenticity. Stop trying to worry about being your true self. Start focusing on what you say helps someone. You are a solution to someone else's problem, then you become that asset.
Absolutely. So if people want to learn more about you, Steve, where do they go? Do they go online? Where do
they jump over. I'm Steve D. Sims absolutely everywhere. So if you want to kind of like stalk me on Instagram, Twitter, anywhere that you get your media, Steve D. Sims. If you jump on stevedsims.com and register, you'll be one of the first to know when this phenomenal book comes out. And you need to get the book because inside the book is a really cool little QR code that you're going to want to scan to see a cool video before you read the rest of the book.
Okay. And how does someone get on your list? Like to do those like mastermind, like if I wanted to be on that list and get that, where do I go?
So the easiest way to do it is to text the word Sims, SIMS, to 33777. That's the word Sims to 33777. And if you're outside of the US, because that only works in the US, then just go to stevedsims.com and subscribe to the newsletter. But the best route is definitely through my text.
Okay, I'm going to sign up for that. I think you email me. I kind of follow you, but I'm going to sign up for that text. And I see Mike just posted on the chat. So yeah, maybe I'll see one of you guys there. If we'll go to one. If you have one in Nashville, provided I'm like not in another city somewhere at the time, because clients kind of get grumpy when I sell them a seminar and don't show up for it.
Then you're not there. Yeah, no, I can see they can get a little bit pissy about that.
Yeah, although Mike does a good job, I could substitute. He just put a red wig on. They wouldn't know the difference. You'd have to shave. Maybe not. I don't know. Maybe.
Well, my friend Reba kind of looks like you. And we just got to get her a nice chair to sit on. We're good. A couple tampons.
Yep. Yeah,
it'll be fine.
Let's get rid. That's everyone's going to remember this episode by that. Sorry, Steve. I completely. This is the tampon episode. But we could, Mike. Maybe if I tell everyone I was transitioning, I identify as a Mike. I don't know. I mean, maybe we can.
It can be done. It can be done.
Awesome. Well, you are an amazing human being. I am.
Thank you.
Like honored to, I mean that sincerely. You're just such an interesting person, and I always feel better after talking to you. I just feel more inspired, and and you're just like a fun dude. I mean, just to know and be around. So I would recommend everybody who's watching this definitely get on that list, get to one of his events, I mean, you just never know where that path might lead you, who you might meet.
Yeah, no, I agree. Thank you so much, Robin. Thanks for yourself. Look after yourself, Mike. Thank you very much, and good luck with Reba and the tampons.
Yeah.
Good Lord. All right, I think we're done. Okay. All right. Bye, everybody. All right. Peace.